since we became part of the community, it's
Oh,
open
okay.
bar.
Okay, okay.
So you're very lucky. Even going home with her like this, it was nice to get a nice Irish girl. With
That's nice.
that was that's fine.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's not like that anymore.
How's the
Him and my feelings were so when I was there, it was like December. And then there was
You
two
know,
movies that he saw. But I didn't really hear that. So I went back.
How's the new building? How's the construction? Just started yet?
You know, for a few days, you know, and so I go home back and I came in the airport and I'm trying to get in. And
Well, I hear the
my
OTM is going out. The owner of property manager, the owner of
Had your
property
passport?
in Mexico, but the big shoes on it is fine. Like, it's, you're trying to get back in. And he's like, no, you've been here 90 days, you can't come back, blah, 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 blah. And I'm digging through my backpack because I have a EU passport too. So I was thinking, like, that would help. Like, I'm digging through.
Yeah.
And I got Irish citizenship. Way back then.
Wait, my turn.
Did you have it?
I had it, so like, didn't realize what I did. Like, I was looking for the passport, but I went like this with the paper as I'm looking for. I'm holding out my Irish birth certificate, which isn't real. It's one here, but it looks like Irish. And I just holding out, and I'm looking. He got my out, and he got. He's like, his voice changes. He gets all nice to me. He's like, Les, you have one of those. You stay as long as you like. And I was like, you did. And he was like, yeah, like right in that minute. He's on the paper in my hand. It was Irish, and it looks like I was a hot.
Do you know how to have a passport?
I do. Well, it's an EU passport. Even then it was, that was 92, it was a passport.
Well, if you automatically had an Irish one, you'll be converted to
EU,
since
yeah,
then,
yeah,
you know.
But it was, that's what I had. Right.
So now you're one of ours. You can come and go as you please now.
No, I can,
Yeah, that's a good story.
But he was like, oh, last year, one of those, just stay as long as you like. I was like,
Did
2
you
minutes
throw,
ago, you were a complete jerk to me.
did you throw a few F-bombs in there? I'm sure
Like,
they
at the
did.
beginning, yeah, he was so mean. And then,
Oh,
but and I
Jesus.
didn't realize why he changed so much. But I'm holding the paper, like I'm digging around, and he's like,
Oh, you're making me homesick. That's such a lovely
but it
story.
was, no, it was good. He was so, and it's like, I get his point too. Mark, keeping that this fine visa, like, acting like,
I'm sorry.
oh.
I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. Go ahead.
Good evening and welcome to the Public Safety Committee. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Voting members to my right, we have Councilor at Large, Selena Reyes, and we have virtually we have Councilor District C, Gregory del Rosario, and as well as Councilor District E, Stefan Infante, Councilor at Large, Anna Levy. She is not here at this moment. She was assigned to this committee, but she is not present. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting of the Public Safety Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that in person who would like to listen or to view this meeting while in progress might either attend in person at the location above or use one of the following access locations: the Lawrence City Council Facebook page, as well as the Lawrence City Council YouTube page. There is a minute to be approved, but before we do that, I would like, as a City Council President, I would like to open nominations.
We don't have cold.
Thanks, Marie.
Okay, perfect. This is the public safety meeting. So, good evening and welcome to the Public Safety Committee. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Voting members to my left, we have Councilor District E and the Vice President of the committee, Estefan Infante. To my right, Councilor at Large, Selena Reyes. Online, we have Councilor de Rosario representing District C, and another member that was assigned to this committee that is not here today is Councilor at Large Ana Levy. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting of the Public Safety Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that a person who would like to listen or to view this meeting while in progress might either attend in person at the location above or use one of the following access locations: the Lawrence City Council Facebook page as well as the Lawrence City Council YouTube page. Councilor, there is a minute to approve from 11/15/2023, but before I do that, I would like to open nominations for the chair of this committee, of the Public Safety Committee. Any nominations? Any nomination for the chair of this committee?
Nominate Councilor del Rosario. Second.
Councilor de Rosario, you've been nominated to be the chair of this committee. Do you accept?
No.
Councilor de Rosario, do not accept the chairman of this committee. Any other nominations?
Nominate Councilor Selena Reyes.
I'll second the motion. Councilor Selena Reyes, do you accept the nomination?
I not accept the nomination.
All right, there is any other nomination for this committee to be the chair? I nominate Estefan Infante to be the chair of this committee. It's been properly seconded. Councilor Infante, do you accept the nomination for the chair of this committee?
Sure.
All right, at this point, there is any other nominations? I hear none, so I'll call the roll call. Councilor de Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes. Yes. I vote yes. Councilor Infante.
Yes.
And motion carries. At this point, councilors, I will pass the gavel to the new chair of this committee. Congratulations.
Thank you, Council President. Members of the Public Safety Committee, For those counselors who have served with me as chair for the Personnel Committee, I do accept 100% professionalism. I do expect members being on time if they don't have other priorities or commitments, and I do expect full communication. So I do want to start off with that. At this point, I will look for a nomination for Vice Chair of the Public Safety Committee. Any nominations?
I nominate Councilor Del Rosario.
Second the motion.
Councilor Del Rosario, you have been nominated as Vice Chair. Do you accept the nomination?
No.
Okay.
I nominate Councilor Selena Reyes for to be the vice chair of this committee.
Not accepting.
Perfect. Okay. So our last meeting, so we do have minutes for approval from November 15, 2023. The minutes were sent to us prior. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 15th?
Motion to approve the minute?
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly second. Any discussions on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. You want all- Roll call. I forget that Councilor Del Rosario is online. Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor
Del Yes.
Rosario. President Rodriguez.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so the ayes have it.
And the chair votes yes, so the ayes have it.
Councilors, we have 2 agenda items that were sent to the Public Safety Committee on December 5th, 2023. The first new business is item 470-23, concerns of illegal dumping on alleyways and homelessness situation, and it's sponsored by Councilor Del Rosario. Councilor Del Rosario, you now have the floor if you wish to discuss this item at this time.
And who do we have? Did we invite anybody through you, Chairwoman?
So I do not recall whether or not you made a motion at the last full council meeting to invite any particular departments or individuals to come before the committee for this item.
There was no way to make a motion. There was a new item at the full agenda, and it was sent to the committee. But when it comes to that, I mean, the inspection of service should be there, it's illegal dumping. Police department should be there, but I mean, I will motion to table the item, or I'll make a motion to invite the inspection of service, and anybody from the police department, from our next public safety meeting.
Okay, so the motion.
Second the motion.
Motion has been made, it's been properly second. Pat, did you hear the motion from Counselor? So the Counselor, well, let me finish the roll call. Okay, at this time, Counselor Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Pat, if the motion is, the motion that we just passed is to send correspondence to the police department and inspectional services for the next public safety meeting to discuss item 470-23. And it has been tabled. And now there's been a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes? Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. The next item we have is item 472-23, concerns about trash pickup, capital waste, also sponsored by Councilor Del Rosario. Counselor, I'm assuming that you would like to do something similar with this item.
To invite Capital Waste, the managers or whoever, the operation managers in the city of Lawrence, the city attorney, and anybody from the mayor's office, if it's possible to come to our next public safety meeting.
Just because I couldn't really hear you. You said Capital Waste, a representative from Capital Waste, the mayor's office, city attorney, and DPW?
And DPW, yes.
Okay. There is a motion, can I have a second? Second. Okay, motion has been made, properly second. I'll call the roll. Councilor Reyes? Yes. Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes, yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Pat, so what we just voted on is to send correspondence to a representative of Capital Waste Services, the city attorney, the mayor's office, and DPW for the next public safety meeting to discuss item 472-23. At this time, councilors, are there any other items you would like to untable from the agenda?
Madam Chair, motion to table.
There's a motion to table item 472-23. There's a second. I'll call the roll. Council Reyes? Yes. Council Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. At this time, are there any other items that you wish to untable, councilors? At this time, I'm hearing none. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion has been properly second. No discussion on this. I'll call the roll. Councilor Reyes? Yes. Council Del Rosario?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you so much, councilors.
Good evening and welcome to the Ordinance and Intergovernmental Relation Committee. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd. Voting member of this committee, to my left, Councilor District A, Fidelina Santiago. Also to my left, Councilor District F, Mark LaPlante. And to my right, Councilor at large, Selena Reyes. We also have a Councilor District C, Gregory del Rosario. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting of the Ordinance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A person who would like to listen or to view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person at the location above or use one of the following access locations: Lawrence City Council Facebook page and Lawrence City Council YouTube page. We have a few minutes, but before we do that, councilors, I would like, as a City Council President, I would like to open the floor for chair of the for chair of the Ordinance Committee. Councilors, any proposal for chair of the Ordinance Committee?
I nominate Councilor LaPlante.
Second.
Councilor LaPlante, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
There is any other nomination for chair of this committee?
I nominate Councilor del Rosario.
Second.
Councilor del Rosario, do you accept the nomination?
No.
Any other nomination? At this point, nominations are closed. Roll call, please. Councilor Selena Reyes. Councilor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Fidelina Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Gregory del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Thank you.
Looking for a motion and nominations for the vice chair. Looking for a motion for the vice chair. I'm going to look to someone with a yellow jacket.
I nominate Councilor del Rosario.
Motion's been made. Is there a second for that nomination? One more time. Is there a second? Yes or no?
Second.
Second. Councilor Del Rosario, do you wish to speak on this matter? The people want you.
President Councilor del Rosario.
I'm not accepting the nomination.
Thank you very much, Mr. Del Rosario. Are there any other nominations?
I
Perhaps
know-
for Councilor Reyes, perhaps?
I nominate,
For you. I want you to get nominated. Can we know that? You nominate
I
Councilor.
would like to nominate Selena Reyes.
Councilor Reyes has been nominated. Is there a second? I hear a second. Mike? Excellent. Any further nominations? Hearing none, I'll roll call vote. Councilor Santiago? Yes or no for Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
And Councilor Reyes.
yes.
Vice Chair Reyes, thank you. Thank you very much, Council. Figuratively, I do appreciate that. We do have some people in the audience here. I want to congratulate the Vice Chair as well. I think you'll be very well served. I think the Vice President spoke earlier this evening about timeliness and about attendance. Councilors, just as a rule, please, you all have my phone number, you all have my cell number. It is expected that every member of this committee will be present. It is expected that every member of this committee will be here on time for a 7 o'clock meeting. If there is something that prohibits you from attending the meeting at 7 p.m., as a courtesy not only to me, but for your colleagues that are on the committee, as well as the people who are in attendance for the meeting, please give me a phone call so that I can make either make some changes, or I can at least alert folks that we may be a little late so that people can manage their time out of respect. So with that, little housekeeping, I thank you all, and we can get started this evening. We do have minutes for approval. I dare say many of us have not read the minutes for approval. So if there's no objections, we're probably not going to deal with that this evening. What I would like to do, which we haven't done yet, just as we do in every meeting, I would like, this may be a little out of order, but out of respect for our flag and for our country, I would all ask for everyone to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, counselors. I didn't go around the room. I know that we have folks here for specific items. I know the clerk is here. I'm going to go in order of who I saw here first. Oh, you got, oh. In this particular order, and we have document 0524. These are with the clerk's office. I'm going to, document number 0524, approval of the 26 polling locations for all 2024 elections, presented by our city clerk, Eileen Burnell. Welcome, Clerk Burnell.
Good evening, councilors. I'm Eileen Burnell, city clerk. There's two pieces of housekeeping before the presidential primary, which is coming up on March 5th, that we do need votes from the council. The first is your approval on the 26 polling locations, and then the second item would be the approval of the police details for those 26 polling locations. In our city elections, we usually have 24 polling locations, but in state and federal elections, we have 26. You should have in your booklets the list of the 26 polling locations. If anyone doesn't have it, I do have an extra copy. Please let me know. But basically, I'm just looking for an affirmative vote or affirmative recommendation of the full council vote to accept those 26 locations, which we don't have a lot of wiggle room with. They are approved by the state, so it's best if we can stay with those. But we do look for a formal council approval.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm looking for a motion at this point to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilor Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll ask Ms. Halloran to please call the roll.
Councilor Salida Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Fidelina Santiago,
Yes.
Councilor Gregory del Rosario,
Yeah,
Chair Mark LaPlante.
Yes, the motion is sent up to the full council. The next document is document number 0624, of police details for all 2024 elections. Clerk Burnell.
Very similar to the last item, again, in state and federal elections, we have 26 precincts. We are required to have a police officer, and we actually appreciate their assistance. In the FY24 budget, Mark Ianello did provide additional funds for that police detail. It's something that we did plan for and budget for. But again, as a piece of housekeeping, we do look for the council to give an affirmative vote to accept the, allow us to make that payment.
Are there any questions? If there are no questions, I'm asking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made by the Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Salida Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Fidelina Santiago,
Yes.
Councilor Gregory del Rosario,
yes.
and Chair Mark LaPlante.
Yes. Motion carries. Last item, I think, clerk, is 523?
Yes, please.
523, that's on your second page, right here. City employee disclosure of conflict, Elizabeth Perdomo. Madam Clerk.
Similar to how other city employees either, are an employee and take minutes or are an employee and plow snow. If a city employee gets paid from more than one department, it is required as a disclosure. So we asked Elizabeth Perdomo if she's a professional singer, if she would please sing at the inauguration. You all got to hear her sing. She was outstanding, and I'm glad that she was able to do that for us. But we would like to make the payment, and because she's a city employee, we do need to disclose that to all of you. So I just want to make sure that you are aware that that happened, but you are aware that she's got to get a small stipend for doing that. So we need to disclose that. So with that being said, we are looking for a favorable recommendation to the full council to make that payment.
Are there any questions for the clerk? Seeing no question, we're looking for a motion to send this up to the council with a favorable recommendation. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Fidelina Santiago,
Yes.
Councilor Gregory del Rosario,
Yes.
and Chair Mark LaPlante.
Yes, motion is sent up to the full council.
Great. Councilors, thank you all very much for your support on those items. I will say, every time you said clerk, call the roll, I started to call the roll because I'm so used to doing that. But I appreciate your support this evening. Thank you all very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. In the chain.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Director, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I come before you tonight in request of an approval or an authorization for the Airport Commission to proceed with a 21-year lease. According to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 90, Section 51F, the commission, any airport commission across the Commonwealth cannot authorize a lease of land for up to 20 years. In this case, the applicant that came before us, because of their funding requirements, is requesting a 21-year lease, and therefore we require this process for the city council to approve. And so I'm here tonight. We are guided by the approval of the airport commission, a master plan that essentially has that property, that parcel available. This is a new construction. What is happening, if you're familiar with the airport, that parcel in the front of the airport is about 5 acres. 2.5 acres, or 110,000 square feet, is up for a 21-year lease request at this point. The purpose of that is a non-aviation use. An applicant came before us after the land was studied. There was an RFP that went out for an appraisal over the summer. And so the parcel is currently, the request is to build a indoor lacrosse center in the, which is a financial opportunity for the airport to, again, as a 21-year lease. And with your approval, we could proceed with that.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Are there any questions by members of the committee? I'm looking for a motion. Is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation?
So move.
Motion made by the vice chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Just as a reminder, this is an unusual situation because of the number of years. Typically, the Airport Commission by itself would be able to do something like this, but because of the length of the contract, the City Council must provide its approval for it, which is a little bit unique, which is why it's before us this evening. So there's no further discussion on this. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Fidelina Santiago,
Yes.
Councilor Gregory del Rosario,
Yes.
and Chair Mark LaPlante.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion sent to the full council. Our next meeting, just so you're aware,
I believe it was told February 16th.
yes, right. Our next scheduled city council meeting is February the 6th. So I would expect and encourage, Director, for you to be here, and I'm sure you will be. And anybody else who has got matters before us this evening should also be at that meeting. Thank you, Director.
Thank you very much.
Officer Cano, I think you're our last one. It's in the audience here, so what are your items? For any particular item this evening? You are. If there was no objections, I'd like to take document 42823 out of, 42823 out of order. It's an installation of a pole on Abbott Street by National Grid. Is there any objection for us taking that out of order? No objection is seen. Sir, do you wish to comment on this? This is do we have National Grid on the line? Mr. Boucher, are you with us?
Yes, I am, sir. Yeah.
Would you do me a favor and we have new counselors and new committee members. Can you just set the table on document 42823? It's a WR hashtag 3077965 installed 1JO pole on Abbott Street. Can you kind of give us a quick background on that item so the members are up to speed?
Thank you, sir. My name is Dave Boucher, Senior Designer, National Grid, 1101 Turnpike Street in North Andover. On this particular petition, we're asking for a new pole 5273-50. And the reason why we're asking for it is there's a new building going in at 124, and, excuse me, the proximity of the new building, second floor, to our lines is too close. With the new pole, it would enable us to resolve that issue. And if the city sees fit, hopefully you can bring it up to the full board meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boucher. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak? Sir, do you wish to speak on this item? Do you wish to speak? If you do wish to speak, please just come to the microphone. Give your name and address, please, for the record.
Hi, my name is Elvin Alamo. I'm the owner of the property. And
What's your last name, sir?
Alamo.
Alamo?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Alamo. Continue, please.
And I live in 120 Abbott Street next door.
Do you wish to say anything on this
Yeah,
matter?
so the last time that this came here, you have a question about if the butter knew about this project, because there's a construction going on. I sent you an email to all of you guys. I don't know if I know that Elena got it. So what in the email said basically was the construction plans, and your concern was the parking. And I showed there that I have parking for a lot of the apartments. So if that was your concern.
Mr. Alamo, when did you send that email to the?
I sent it in December.
December, do you recall the date?
The date, yeah, is, could get it for you. It's this December, Mark. It was on December 5. I sent it to, Mark LaPlante. I also sent it to Regis. I also sent it to Rodriguez. I also sent it to Danielle McCarthy. I also sent it to Peter Blanche. I also include Bernal, and I also include Bernal. And basically, I talk I introduce myself. Hi, City Councilor. I'm Elvin Amon, property owner of 124 Lawrence, Massachusetts. Today I received a communication from Robert Lovart at National Grid regarding your concern about the parking address. I want to assure that we have made provision for all necessary parking related to the upcoming construction. The project have already received approval from both the zoning and planning board. Our collaboration with National Grid is focused on basically moving the pole a little bit forward and out of the power line to ensure the safety of the workers and to have all the precaution. The plan of 124 obviously have been, all the abutters have been notified. So we also went to the zoning board and the planning board. And you know, when you go to the zoning board, you have to send that letter to all of the neighbors, and you also have to do that to the planning. So we actually did this twice, because I actually took this project twice. Because first, it was gonna be 8 apartments, and then we were gonna be doing parking on the bottom of the building, but then I bought the property next door, and so we were gonna make more apartments, and I'm gonna take the parking of 120, and I'm gonna put it together with 124, and we're gonna have 24 parking spots. And in the email are the plans for the project, and we already started the project, but we have this problem with the poles. It's too close.
In the email on December 5th, are those the final plans that you sent to us?
Yeah.
Those are the final plans. There have been no changes since then?
No.
December 5th, okay. So we appreciate that. So we have a new constitution of the committee at this particular point. So we've got new members as a new city council. I know that my vice chair here has a copy, and I'm so appreciative that she did. And have you sent it? So I thank you. I get a lot of stuff. Don't understand why they didn't get through, but I have a copy of it now. And we're going to make sure that our new member, Councilor Santiago, also has it. And we have Councilor Del Rosario, who's a new member of this committee, so we need to make sure that our members get that information. So I'm going to be making sure that Councilor Santiago and Councilor Del Rosario also have it. What's important here, from my perspective, is to have the final plans. Now that I have those final plans, I'm going to be talking so you know where I'm coming from. I have talked to members on the street as well. They do have concerns about it, and yes, I don't have any doubt in my mind that people did not go to a zoning board meeting or a planning board meeting or respond. It happens all the time in this city where people have opinions but then don't show up to these things. Not your fault, I understand that, but it happens, and then I hear about it after the fact, right? So I'm hearing about stuff after the fact. So what I need to do is this. I've already talked to other of your neighbors who have some concerns. I need, now that I have a copy of the plans, I'm going to go to ISD, Inspectional Services Department, to make sure that we do have enough that we were able to pull this thing through, and the fire department. There was concerns or talks about the size of the condition of the walls in the units, because you went, what was your first, it's now 12 units in that location, am I right?
Yeah.
What's the final, is it 12?
But it's 12
It's 12,
unit,
okay.
but we already got the permits, and we are building.
I get that. You went through the various boards and you received the proper approvals by zoning board and perhaps even planning board. What I'm looking to do is that this is the first time that I'm actually having a chance to take a look at this and this kind of detail, and I'm going to reference the information that you gave to our subject matter experts in this building, fire and ISD, to make sure that everything is according to standards, because what you're looking to do is significant. It's significant on that small street. I'm not debating the fact that you didn't get the proper authority from the proper stuff, but it is significant. And for me to do my job properly, I need to do my due diligence with respect to it. At the end of the day, you may very well get my vote if everything matches up. But until I get all my questions and the stuff answered, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be there. So I'm asking my colleagues to deference to my two new colleagues so they get the information, and then we'll have you come back again. At that point, I'm looking for a motion to table. Is there a motion?
Motion to table?
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Council Santiago. No discussion. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Fidelina Santiago,
Yes.
Councilor Gregory del Rosario,
Yes.
and Chair Mac LaPlante.
Yes. Motion, it stays here on this committee. Our next, I don't know when our next meeting is going to be. I can give you a potential ballpark. Just give me a sec.
So for the next meeting, you guys will all have the plans, probably?
What I will be doing is I'm going to be making sure, thanks to my colleague, that the entire, all the new counselors will have the plans, so they'll have that opportunity to take a look at it. And I will have the plans to have a chance to review. And my intention is to go ahead and talk to those subject matter experts, our experts in this building about the project, so I can be more informed about it. And then we can have a more intelligent conversation. I might actually call you up prior to, so we'll see how that, see what comes of that. It is expected, counselors, that our next meeting will be on February the 13th. So just, that's, we won't know that for sure until the 6th, but you can just kind of roughly ballpark that. Thank you, Mr. Alamo.
Thank you.
If there's no objection, the council president is here to take document 19-24. There's no objection, President, are you 24? Council President? I'm sorry, I should also mention that you're co-sponsoring it, so Councilor Marmol is here as well. Councilor Marmol, my apologies for not including you in that initial comments. Council.
Thank you, Chair of the Ordinance Committee, Councilor Mike LaPlante. At this point, Councilor, I would like to take this opportunity to present to this committee the creation of the Economic Development Subcommittee. What we're doing here is with the intent of having an opportunity to discuss this item at the subcommittee level, not with the intent of creating the subcommittee meeting, since we need to take another route. We need to go by the Rule 24th, I believe, of the City Council rules. And at that point, we'll present this creation of this subcommittee meeting with the signature of two councilors on the next meeting on February, to be discussed at the full council meeting on the second meeting of February. But the intent at this point is to discuss the possibility of having having this discussion at this committee will help out, obviously, the discussion at the full council meeting. Independently of the decision of this committee, or independently of the discussion happening on this committee, we would like to have more councilors having more opportunity to discuss the potential of creating this subcommittee. But obviously, we will go with Rule 24 during the month of February. And if you allow me, Council President, I would like to go over a little more about why this committee is important to the City of Lawrence, and especially to the City Council. As a councilor for the last 8 years, I have the opportunity to discuss many important issues when it comes to economic development, but sometimes nowhere to be discussed other than when it comes to the economic development portion of any particular item. Sometimes we give TIF or tax incentive to different companies, and we discuss the economic portion of the item at the Budget and Finance Committee. But at that point, at that level, we have the opportunity to discuss partially when it comes to the economic development portion of those TIF. That's one example. And that make us partner in the creation of this economic development subcommittee. And essentially another portion that we would like to bring up is that we're gonna at this committee, we're gonna promote the economic development, the economic development or economic development growth of the city at that level. We're gonna address economic challenges. We're also gonna talk about a specific specific areas that we have the potential of creating a revenue as a city of Lawrence. Perhaps we were discussing very closely the potential of having a discussion about the filming industry. This is something that we would like to showcase the city of Lawrence as a special project under this committee. And just like we are going to do that, how we're gonna present the city of Lawrence. That's gonna take the effort of many departments, but more especially the History Center. We are planning on getting them involved when it comes to showcase the city, specifically when it comes to those special locations that we have in the city of Lawrence, with the potential, or with the intent of showcase the city of Lawrence with the intent of probably recording movies here in Lawrence. We have had that in the past, and I think that creating policies that attract those specific market will help out tremendously the city of Lawrence. And how we're gonna create that? Well, we are planning on taking this project and also creating a specific policies that help out through the permitting process, through the different venues that we have in the city of Lawrence, to allow those industries to come here to the city and be able to manage or be able to take advantage of what we have, but at the same time, we showcase our city as a potential place to be able to film movies. We in the past, I believe in 2016, we have that experience here in the city of Lawrence, and that was a great experience. A lot of economic development, a lot of opportunity for our local businesses around. A lot of our business took advantage of showcasing what they can serve, and so far so on. And essentially, as a city council, by creating these policies, we're going to be able to help out those that are probably looking for a specific area to growth. Something that we mentioned here in our presentation or our document that we have is entrepreneurship. We would like to discuss essentially at this committee any potential business creation at the city of Lawrence if the city or if the city council get involved. So having this opportunity with the discussion of different committees, I think that the process will be more open, because everybody going to have an opinion at the subcommittee, especially you as members of this subcommittee. And essentially, this is what we would like to do. Me and Councilor for District D, Vivian Marmol, we have bring this up for the opportunity to engage into any discussion.
Hello?
Did you want me to let them know?
Hello?
Can you get close to that one? Be careful, you can upload it.
Oh, this one? Yeah.
Hello?
That one work?
Thank you very much for that. We are having some technical issues. Councilors, we have all heard the presentation by the council president. Are there any questions?
I want to know because what I see right now is very basic. I want to know, what does that mean when you're talking about a local business?
Just speak in that direction.
What kind of local business you thinking in mind? Because we don't see any, I don't see any description about that. I love to see what kind of local business you planning to cover through this committee.
Anything related to city council business, when it comes to our local business, will be discussed through this committee. Essentially, it could be a combination of two or three committees, but we're going to have the economic development discussion under this committee. So that's why we're not mentioning any specific business, because there is the potential of discussion. Any potential growth will depend on who got presented to the city council. This is no different than any other committee that we have at the full council. Essentially, we have standing committees, and this is not going to be no difference. What we're presenting here is the potential of having an economic development subcommittee with the intent of having this committee as an standing committee.
Thank you. But through this committee, what is the intention? To follow the process, to see what is the growth through the our locals being applied for any kind of grant, or what does that mean?
On our presentation, we say that we're going to strengthening our local economy and building prosperity with the key priority for Lawrence City Council. The role of this Economic Development Committee is to create the right conditions for economic growth while balancing the characters and livable of our resilient city. Partner with local chambers to support local business and build capacity with turn to create local jobs. Facilitate and support the projects that are beneficial to the areas and to advocate for regionally and significant projects to be funded and created and located in the area. This Economic Development Committee will undertake 4 main functions: local business support, investment and growth, industry developments, like we discussed previously, investment on project attractions, and advocacy major projects. That's what this committee will be. That's the intent of this committee.
Thank you for clarification, but I want to continue in asking, to this committee, you're working close with development project or through different agencies to
Essentially, this committee will be no different than any other standing committee. Any business that come to the city council will be discussed under this committee. Any business that it comes to economic growth or perhaps economic development will be sent out to this committee. It could have the potential of the discussion on multiple committees. Perhaps if it is any component that is related to monies, and then it probably will be sent to the economic development if it is any economic development factor, and therefore to the Budget and Finance Committee. So this is not going to be no different than any other committee, but having a place to discuss potential growth for the city of Lawrence and having an opportunity to develop any economic development proposal perhaps that are going to be presented to the city council. Just like when we have any particular issues on any other committee, perhaps ordinance, perhaps housing, or personal, we present a committee report, and we present recommendations that are going to go to city council. When it comes to economic development, and then it's going to be coming to here, and then potentially going to other committees, and essentially having an opportunity to develop specific policies and procedures that are for the economic growth of the city.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Council President, you've been on the council now for 8 years. Can you, just so we have a better flavor as to the direction this is going, can you identify something while you've been on the council that's been introduced that if we had this committee, something would have been sent to it?
Yeah, of course. I have a few samples. Every time that we have a TIF, perhaps the last one we have from Merriman Street, we keep on talking about job creation. And we keep on discussing specifically how many jobs they're going to be creating with that specific TIF that we're going to, or tax incentive that they were going to receive. They keep on saying we're going to develop about 60 jobs. Out of those jobs, a lot of the questions were related to, okay, how many of those are going to be Lawrence residents? And they couldn't ensure how many of those were going to be Lawrence residents. If we have this committee, perhaps, before we talk about the economic portion of the TIF, we were going to discuss the economic development plan for that TIF. Once we get the economic development plan for the TIF related to that specific tax incentive, which is going to be discussed at the economic development level or subcommittee, then therefore we have, if that's positive and that's the potential of that TIF will be beneficial for the city, therefore we're going to send that item with a fair recommendation to the full council. Once we have that specific item coming to the full council with a fair recommendation coming from the economic development committee, we're going to have the opportunity to discuss the TIF and the economic portion of the TIF, the monies perhaps. With that report on hand, once we got that opportunity to send that up to the Budget and Finance Committee, we were going to have that proposal in front of us that was discussed by 4 other different councilors. Essentially, we're going to have, that TIF is going to be not only been discussed by 4 councilors at the Budget and Finance Committee, but also going to be discussed with 4 other councilors at the Economic Development Committee, which is going to give us the opportunity to have multiple discussions with the same topic, essentially, which is a potential TIF to benefit on a specific company, but different source of information, different source of venues.
I don't want to have this drag too much, so I guess one of the questions I would have is, and I think you explained it, was that there would be a direct correlation between the Economic Development Committee and the Budget and Finance Committee.
And it could be other committees as well.
And there could be other committees as well, says the council president. So I guess the first thing that would come up, we are often criticized for being slow. We are often criticized for not being nimble, that things take too long to get through this. And what I'm hearing is that we could be adding to the length of time if this committee takes place. In your TIF example, something would come before the Economic Development Committee. It would then be discussed then. It would then be brought up to the full council. At that point, if it makes sense, it's going to go back down to the Budget and Finance Committee. We're extending the length of time that it would take for us to get to the end product, which is an up or down vote on a TIF. And I guess I call it to question whether that is in the best interest of the city for us to sometimes have that kind of delay when we're often criticized for being so slow.
Well, essentially, a combination of both committees at the same time could happen. So sometime we meet at the Budget and Finance Committee on one day, and that the same day we could have the conversation at the Economic Development team, the Economic Development Committee. So the combination of those committees could be at the same time, but it is important to recognize that when it comes to job creations, I think that if we act proactively when it comes to this committee, I'll say that once the City of Lawrence receive that application for a TIF, I think that what we need to do is expedite the process a little more and not necessarily wait or waste time or perhaps delay the process, because we're going to have, if they understand the importance of the approval process, we can end up potentially having those items coming in front of us a little earlier, or perhaps combining both at the same time and send it over to both committees at the same time and combine the time.
So I'm not sure, I'm just going to throw some questions, and I'm not sure we're going to get some answers this evening because we do have a very long agenda, and I'm not sure how long we're going to be sticking around here. So, but the other questions would be, besides TIF, of which we didn't have very many in the last 2-year term, and we haven't frankly had a lot in the last 4-year term, that's driven by the mayor's office, not by the city council. So the question here was, besides TIF, of which we don't have very many, and job creation, which is done privately, not necessarily through government. I guess outside of the TIF, I mean, we do create jobs when a business comes to us and says, I could use some economic assistance as we try to make more investments into the city. So I understand the dynamic of a TIF. Besides the TIF,
Okay.
and I'm just curious as to what's the interaction with the mayor's office, who also has an economic development officer and an entire branch. I don't know how what your proposal fits with what's currently in the system.
Well,
and is something broken in the system that we're looking to fix? Is this going to fix something?
Yes, by all means, Councilor, Mr. Chair, this economic development committee will help out tremendously when it comes to sometime discuss items that have been forgotten. Perhaps I haven't seen in the last 8 years, perhaps a master plan when it comes to economic development. We have seen a specific project when it comes to other commissions that promote economic development, but when it comes to a master plan for the economic development in the city, we probably haven't seen that for a while. So having this committee, having these discussions, a friendly discussion with the mayor's office and with the team that are at that level, and be able to create policies and work together to make sure that the economic development of the city help out the needs of the community. I think that having this committee and having those discussions at the city council level will help out to expedite the process.
Has there been any, because this is purely at this point a prerogative and a mission of the mayor, have you had a conversation with the mayor regarding this proposal and seeing how that interaction is?
Yes.
And what's been his response?
No, definitely they're on board on working together with the city council.
Thank you. So I'm looking for either questions or a motion. I was going to let councilors know my feelings on this. I'm intrigued by this particular proposal. I think that, I'm intrigued by where this could possibly go. I think one of the things that the president is looking to do, I think correctly, is looking to create an ad hoc committee. I think that we should let that ad hoc committee do its work. We should all be able to examine, it would have the same impact, frankly, as a standing committee. Since the council president is going to be putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of cachet with that committee, I suspect that committee is going to be getting some work. So with that, I'm of the opinion that I like to see this work as an ad hoc committee. I want to see the dynamics, I want to see the interaction, I want to see how it plays out. So I would not be in favor at this point in supporting a new standing committee, but I am eager to see and to watch how an ad hoc committee, which would essentially be a dry run, how that would work. And then after we see how that works, at that point, this counselor would feel more comfortable in then making a decision. Yeah, it's working, or no, it needs to be. Yes, it could work better if it was tweaked, or no, this is redundant. It's not really making an impact. It's not a lot of work. I like to see how that plays out on the spectrum. So as we go, I'm going to look for a motion. I'm not going to lead the motion. I'm going to look for a motion, and then you counselors know how I feel about this matter. Is there any further discussion? And I'll also be looking for a motion.
And it is important to recognize, Council, Mr. Chair, that at this point, the discussion that we have here will help out tremendously when it comes to the opinion and the potential, and that other council being able to watch this video about what it's all about. But as we all know, Rule 24 of the City Council rules allow us to present this as a subcommittee, as we stated at the beginning of the discussion, and the intent is to go that route and also have this discussion at this level so it can help and promote the intents of the committee.
So this is a non-binding vote. We're not creating anything. This is a sense of the committee, because this is, the rules are very, as the council president just mentioned, the rules are very precise on how we make a committee, a standing committee.
Yeah.
The council president has every prerogative to create an ad hoc committee at his whim, at his pleasure, whenever he feels like it. He can make any ad hoc committee, and I would hope when he has an ad hoc committee, I would hope that it would be in the best interest of both the council president and to the membership that he ask members first before placing them on there to make sure they would be willing to serve on those committees. But having said that, he certainly can do that, and apparently there's going to be a rule before us, potential rule as early as the next meeting that will then potentially be signed and ready for a vote at the second meeting in February. So at this point, this is a sense, and this is a non-binding vote. It doesn't have any impact as far as creating anything. So I'm looking for a motion. Is there a motion to send it up as a committee report, which is kind of which serves the purpose of the president?
Yeah.
I'm looking for a motion to send this document up as a committee report. Is there a motion? Or not?
Second?
A motion is made.
Second.
Motion has been made to send this committee report. It's been properly seconded by Iago. Discussion? See no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. President. Is there any other matters before the committee that you wish to take up this evening? And Ms. Marmol, yourself, Council Marmol, yourself as well. Is there anything you want to take up off the items as a courtesy to both of you? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Officer Cano is still here. Is he here? I see him. All right, we do have National Grid. I am so sorry. Mr. Williamson, are you with National Grid?
I am with National Grid for the remaining items on the agenda, if you're able to get to them.
Mr. Williamson, we will get to them right now. So let's take you off right now. So if there's no objection, we'll deal with the National Grid. Mr. Cano is being very gracious. Officer Canosa, we can wait. So what's your first item, Mr. Williamson?
I am here for, I believe there are 12 or 14 remaining petitions on the agenda. Items 485-23 to 498-23.
Mr. Williamson, we've got you down now for document number 485 to up to and through 498-23. Is that what you have?
That's what I have. Thank you very much.
As painful as this might be, because it's going to take more time, as I mentioned earlier, we have 2 new members. We're going to go through this individually. When we get cooking on this later in the year, we may go through this a little faster, but tonight, because we have 2 new members, we're going to go through each one individually. So, if there's no objection, we'll take number 485-23. That's install 1 JO pole 781 at Beacon Street near intersection of Andover Street. Before we get going, just give us the 30-second definition of a JO pole.
That's a jointly owned pole. Verizon owns the other half of it, but National Grid is responsible for setting all poles in the city of Lawrence.
Why should we vote for this, Mr. Williamson?
This is for 1 new jointly owned pole in order to shore up some guying so the poles don't lean over, and to install a new switching device reliability.
Some members, I'm going to ask them for them, and it's helpful for me to just remember why it's there. I know we have to deal with this, and we have to order a public hearing. Is that right, Mr. Can we order a public hearing on this, on these? We do order a public hearing on each one of these. So the question is what's these JO polls and the SO polls, why are we voting in favor of them? What's the impact to our residents? Why is this even before us? Why are we doing this? Why do you need to move or do these polls?
Project to rebuild a lot of the electric system in South Lawrence. It's related to a substation rebuild project, and we're rehabbing a lot of older lines that have not been upgraded or maintained in quite some time. So all of these items are related to that larger overall project, and they're needed to rebuild and upgrade and make the grid more reliable.
Okay, so thank you for that explanation. At this point, we'll start off with the first one. I'm going to ask my colleagues before we start going, are there any questions regarding at least this first poll on Beacon Street as a joint poll, which means, as he had just described, between 2 different utilities are sharing it, and is for a construction project nearby. Are there any questions with respect to the placement of this poll by members of the committee? Did I explain that roughly well, Mr. Williamson, or did I overstep an important point?
Yes, that was an accurate description.
Okay. I'm looking for a motion to send this up to the full council to order a public hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion to public.
Second.
A motion's been made to send this up to the full council to order a public hearing. It's been made by the vice chair. It's been properly seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, it's sent up to the full council to order a public hearing. Mr. Williamson, the next document is an SO poll at the at Bailey Street near Foster Street. Can you explain what an SO poll is and why it's important that we vote for this?
The SO pole means it's solely owned, so there are no Verizon telephone lines on it. The solely owned poles are usually smaller guying poles that we use to support the larger lines on the taller poles. So they're usually smaller impact, and we use them to make sure that the other lines, the other poles don't lean over. And all of these poles, they're installed in line, in line with the existing poles on the sidewalks. And we go to the DPW and get road opening permits, before we do any of the work as well. I didn't mention that earlier.
And why do we need to have a pole here? What's the importance of Bailey near Foster Street? Why there?
We're gonna be replacing, some smaller wires, larger wires. And if we don't put in a pole to shore up the other ones, they'll, eventually start to fall over and lean.
Very good. I think from this point going forward, Mr. Williamson, if you could just say why it's there. This was a replacement, and the other one's for a new project. Those kinds of things are important, so that just helps us understand why you're putting, or this is on the agenda. Are there any questions by the commission, by the committee members before I ask for a motion? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by the vice chair, seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. See no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, the motion passes. Next document is 4723, install 2 single poles at Market Street near Parker Street. Mr. Williamson, the purpose for this replacement, new project, what do we got going there?
Overhead crossing where there are no existing overhead wires. And the conduit is coming further down the list.
Excellent. So this is unlike the other one, this is underground. So to take some clutter out of the airspace. Any questions? This is a kind of a new one. Any questions by the committee? Looking for a motion to send this document up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Next document is 48823, install 2 SO poles on the Salem Street near Blanchard Street. Mr. Williamson.
These are for, wire replacements to shore up, poles and, guying.
Replacement poles, is that what you're suggesting, Mr. Williamson?
We're replacing conductors, so these will help shore up the existing poles with guying.
Any questions by the committee? Seeing none, is there a motion to send this document up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing? Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. See no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Document 4923, construct underground electric conduit from poles 5148 to 5149 on Market Street near Parker Street. Mr. Williamson?
These are the underground conduits that will connect with the 2 poles previously noted, and this will help keep from adding new overhead wires to that intersection of Parker Street and Market Street.
Any questions by the committee? Seeing no questions, is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing? Motion made,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Document 49023, install one JO pole on South Union near Grafton Street. Mr. Williamson.
Overhead wires.
That's pretty clear. Any questions? Looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing. Motion made by the vice chair, seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? See no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Next document is 49123, construct underground electric conduits on, from MH 11 to 5965 Merrimack Street. Mr. Williamson?
Underground service, to the lot on the corner, 59-65, and we have to move the existing pad mount transformer on the customer site and refeed with new conduits and cable.
Is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation? Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the next document is 49223, relocate one JO pole, number 112 Merrimack Street near Parker Street. Mr. Williamson.
This is to relocate pole 112, approximately 13 feet, because the existing pole is too close to a building.
Say that last bit again, Mr. Williamson, I lost you.
The existing pole is too close to a building, so we'll move up 13 feet.
Is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation? Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? See no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll. I'm sorry, that motion is to order a public hearing.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries. Document number 49323, construct underground electric conduit South Canal Street near Amesbury Street. Mr. Williamson.
These conduits are to accommodate new cables leaving the substation that we're rebuilding. Because the existing conduits in the road are too small, so we need the larger conduits for the new, larger cable.
Looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing. Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, document 49423, construct underground electric conduits, pole 106 to MH 1794, Merrimack Street near Carver Street. Mr. Williamson?
These are conduits to refeed the transformers to number 37 Merrimack Street as part of the reconfiguration.
Okay. Is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing? Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, next document, 49523, relocate one SO pole, lot number 11284, Merrimack Street near Parker Street. Mr. Williamson?
This is to support the pole that we're moving away from the building that's the existing poles are too close to the building.
Is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing? Motion made by the vice chair, seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, next document, 49623, install two SO poles, 6560 and 6671 at South Canal Street near Amesbury Street. Mr. Williamson?
Poles are to accommodate the replacement of the existing overhead wires on South Canal Street.
To complement them, so you're adding more?
The existing wires and adding a switch. So these new poles will accommodate the replacement of the wires.
Looking to send this, looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing. Is there a motion? Motion made by the vice chair.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago, who has now broken the record for the most seconds for the first meeting. All in favor say aye. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the next document, we have two more of these, and this is it. 49723, install one JO pole, 1250, number 1250 Canal Street near Union Street. Mr. Williamson?
This is a new pole to accommodate an underground cable that will rise up and provide a backup feed to the existing overhead lines on Canal Street.
Is there a motion to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing?
Second.
Councilor Santiago, discussion? See no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, the last National Grid is this one, 49823, construct underground electric conduits from MH 127 to pole number 12-50 Canal Street near Union Street. Mr. Williamson?
These are the underground conduits to connect to the pole 12-50 to provide a backup tie to the existing overhead lines on Canal Street.
Is there a motion to send this document up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing?
So moved.
Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Mr. Del Rosario?
Through you, Chair, Mr. Chair, hopefully, the city won't have to pay for all this work. I know that we've been waiting and the warden is there, so I encourage the city clerk to get, as soon as possible, a public hearing for this item that has been sitting there for over a year, almost a year. And it's not fair that the city is paying for all this public hearing for National Grid, for all the work that they do, while they go to other cities and they pay top dollars, and they only give the city of Lawrence $100 per work per poles. So it is time that we action on it. The city cannot keep paying for National Grid when National Grid is a multi-million-dollar company.
Thank you, Mr. Del Rosario. Any other discussion by members of the committee? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Now, Mr. Cano, Officer Cano, it is time. You're welcome, Mr. Williamson. Best of luck. Our next meeting's on the 6th. You may want to be in attendance for that. Officer Cano, we're going to start off from the very top. Is this in order?
Might be the preferred response, I'm not sure. I put withdrawal for some of these, but it possibly might be just a simple removal. So I'll explain. So some of these ordinances are still on the intergovernmental list, dating back to 2016, some of them. So I'll go through them, and you let me know what's the proper terminology. And what I would like to do is read through it, explain why we're here with it, and then finally have it taken off the list and move on, or have it addressed as a status check.
So, Mr. Officer Cano, just for the sense of being efficient and timely, how many of these documents do you have this evening that you would like to speak on?
17.
I just know that we have one of our committee members is on Zoom, and for very good reasons, and it's hard to do everything through roll call votes and all that, so if we had to do this stuff for the public hearings, let's just see how this thing goes, right, and see how fast we can move through them. If we're slogging, we just lost our member. If we're slogging, I might ask the committee if we can just or pull up the most important ones that we need to work on sooner rather than later. Maybe that's it. If you could triage them into the more important ones or timely ones, that would be good.
All right, so the first one is going to be document 7922. Do you want me to give you the list and then you call it as a whole?
I don't.
Okay, perfect. So 7922 and 24522, which is maybe 8 down the list?
This is going to be too funky, switching papers. Let's just go in order. Let's get as many as we can, okay? Just go, because it's just flipping. It gets ugly. So let's start off with your first one, which is 7922.
Okay. 7922 is a document that was made by Mr. Miguel Pereira for a handicap parking sign for one vehicle space in front of his address at 24 Belmont Street. This was taken up and written May of 2022. I had requested I did not recommend it, and it was apparently not withdrawn from the list. So I am asking to have it either removed as an item that was originally withdrawn. So can that be done so that it's not showing? Now, consequently, this line item, again, showed up in the ordinance as 24522. So we also have to get rid of that one so it's not duplicating the same thing from the original 7922.
So, councilors, this is not going to be quick, because we're going to have to go back and forth a little bit, but let's see how much of it we can get this evening. And then if we can't get all of it, we'll attack more of it at our next meeting. So this one right here, you believe was withdrawn, which shouldn't even be on the agenda.
It wasn't recommended, and I believe it was withdrawn.
When you say withdrawn, withdrawn at the full council level withdrawn, or withdrawn at this level? Where was it withdrawn?
It was not recommended, and from there, it just stayed on the list. as you can see in front of you, from the Ordinance Intergovernmental Committee.
So Mr. Cunner, the most important out of this first one, the most important piece of information for this committee is to know, did the council take final action on this, on document number 7922? The answer is yes, no, or I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
Fair answer. My colleague is suggesting that it's not on there.
Okay, the one that's here is 24522. So the reference, okay. Well, it's the same one, so that's the issue. So it should have been the other way around. I should have listed 245 first. And that's page number 5.
Just so we can put this to bed, we don't need 7922. Do we need this?
No.
We don't need this. Let's just discard that.
Correct.
It's just confusing things.
So what happens when things are taken out? We end up duplicating it because it's requested again. Sometimes it's actually the petitioner, but sometimes it could be a counselor that requests because someone calls them up, says, hey, I'm still waiting.
Let's just keep going in order. 245 is not,
Okay, so we'll do the next one is 68. So next ordinance is 6819. So 6819, this was back in 2019. This was for a three-way stop requested at East Havel Street at Avon Street. This was by Officer Eugene Scanlon when he was doing this ordinance, and he did not recommend it. So we're asking to have that removed from the Ordinance Intergovernmental Committee. And I don't know whether the council did anything with it.
do we know if the original was to put a stop sign there? Was the original proposal to put a stop sign and now it's there?
The original was to have requesting a three-way stop.
Is there a three-way stop there right now?
No, there is not. There's a one-way stop. East Havel Street goes north and south, and there's no stop sign on East Havel Street. There is a stop on Avon Street entering East Havel Street.
Logic would, and this is not 100%, but logic would tell me that this did not get up to the full council. And did we check the ordinance books to see if there's an ordinance on it? Do we know if there's anything codified?
No.
Because that would be the best place to go. If it's in our book, that means we've already did something. If it's not in our book, that means we do something.
Well, I'm bringing it up to the council so that we can have it checked by the clerk's office or perhaps the secretary council, so that we can have that remedied and checked, and if it hasn't been, again, he's not, Officer Scanlon's not here, but I'm reading his words. I checked dispatch system, and there have been no reported accidents at this location. There is currently a posted stop sign on Avon Street at East Havel Street heading east. I recommend no further traffic signs are needed at this location. Now, I did reach out to, I believe it was Maria de la Cruz who had then requested later on during the process, because she was either looking for a crosswalk on East Havel Street across from the store and barber shop. But again, this is, if that's the case, then we should be looking at, this should have had a different number. This should have been taken care of and off the list, and then requested a new number for 2022, 2023.
In situations like this, we often look to the district counselor who represents that area, but a guidance.
I did speak to Maria de la Cruz, counselor, former counselor, and she said she was looking for this crosswalk or stop sign at the daycare in front of the church on East Havel Street, just past Berkeley Street. So she said she was all set with this, and that's my conversation with her more recently, within the past month. So this is very old, and
Councilor Santiago.
I would like to recommendation check, because I would like to recommendation a double check the intersection. Through you, Chair, I want to offer some clarification about that. They already have the crosswalk there, and also they don't request another stop sign there, because I'm very familiar with the case with the 63 East Haverton Street and another address. So I think they'd be good, because they already have what they request, because they don't request a stop sign, they request a sidewalk.
so my question is, can we get rid of this line item?
So I'm going to look to Councilor Santiago on this, and I'm putting her in a hot seat a little bit. So we have a couple of options, Councilor. The police department has given their opinion. The vice chair has also given her opinion, knowing the area. We could go ahead and do nothing, keep it as is, and if that's what you want, we can make a motion to send this up to withdraw this document. If you disagree with the police department or have a difference of opinion, you can certainly make a motion to, if you wanted to study it some more, you can make a motion to leave it on the table, knowing that in which we should bring it up at the next meeting, to look into it a bit more. Or you could just say, I want that stop sign there, and you can go against the police. So it's up to you. You got several options, I think. What's your preference?
I would like to make a motion, and I would like to know first the question, if they have the crosswalk already. Yeah, doesn't make sense. I would like to make a motion to put in the agenda to the next item.
So what I believe what the vice chair was suggesting is this, is that we can get rid of this document. You can send it up to withdraw it. And in the future, if you think there's a need for it, you can reintroduce a new item from you.
You're set.
So so what is your preference on this, Counselor? Withdraw it?
Yes, I prefer, for now, we can draw.
So there's a motion, I'm gonna help. There's a motion on the floor to withdraw document number 6819. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Reyes. Discussion? So just to be clear, we're gonna send it up to full council to order it to be withdrawn, which means everything stays the way it is at that intersection, nothing changes. And we'll have to vote on the full council. So motion's been made, properly second. If there's no further discussion, we only have, Councilor Del Rosario is not with us right now, so I'll just do a roll call vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Next document is document 22919. This was made by former City Councilor Estela Reyes of District B for constituents of Hall Street. For the purposes of public safety, it was requested that there be no parking on either side of the public street, the entire length. Hall Street goes from Park Street all the way to Berkeley Street, and it's an extremely narrow street where only one vehicle can get through. So I checked this street, and I noticed that the signs were all there. So I questioned the fact that this item is still showing on the intergovernmental committee list, and so I'd like to have this withdrawn, because it's been taken care of.
So the intent of 229 is in effect. It already has, it's taken effect. It's one-way street.
It's a one-way street, and it's also, has parking, no parking allowed on either side of the street.
And we've already voted
Posted.
for it.
And
it's
as a
in
matter of
our-
fact, DPW, there was one sign that I noticed that was faded and couldn't barely read. I contacted DPW, they immediately came out, they were able to replace that one particular sign, but the street has at least 7 to 8 signs on the street.
Councilors, my recommendation is this to us, is I would like for us to not let this stay here. Frankly, I like to clean up this entire packet, right? And get rid of as much dead wood as we can. But what I would like to do, just to be sure, we've already voted on it, I'd like for us to send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to withdraw pending, and I want some correspondence from our committee to the city clerk, asking her for the vote. So we can, when we get to the full council, we can tell our colleagues, we have the vote, it took place in 2020 or whenever it took place, and here was the vote. So we can show them that it's already taken place. But absent that, absent some documentation, I think we're in a tough spot. But I think if we've got it, then we should just produce it, and then we can withdraw it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a recommendation to withdraw, and in tandem, also send it, on the condition that the city clerk provide to the full council a documentation showing the final vote. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that your motion? Motion made by the vice chair.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? See no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. The ayes have it.
I think we're gonna read that as we go, as we get to it, we'll revisit. Yeah, so there was no, yeah, okay. So next document, it's 10619, again, 2019. The request was made by Mrs. Frazier from 170, 172 Boxford Street. It was done at the time by Officer Scanlon in April 11th of 2019 to remove a handicap parking sign from the front of the residence. I checked the address. I confirmed that there was no sign, and I'm wishing to have this withdrawn. Please?
I would encourage the committee to do the same thing we've done the last one. If it's been passed and we've already passed it, I'd like to show the council that we already voted on it. So I'm looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a recommendation to withdraw pending documentation from the city clerk showing the vote of that final action.
So moved.
Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Next line item is 266, 2020. This was requested by former Councilor Estela Reyes of District B on behalf of her constituents at 11 East Havel Street for residential parking. I went to that location. I saw the signs that were properly placed, and this ordinance has been complied with accordingly, and I'm wishing to have this withdrawn if it's document. Yes.
Looking for a motion to send document 26620 to the full council to withdraw pending a confirmatory memo from the city clerk showing the final vote by the council. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Next document is document 125, 2021. The request is made by Mrs. Lopez for one handicap sign in front of her residence located at 74 Saunders Street. I had responded to that location and also noticed that it's appears to be a single-family home, apparently has probably more apartments within it, but the issue here was that it had a dedicated driveway with 3+ cars and a small yard on the side of the building, which has immediate access to the building, either front and side, front and rear, rather. So it's not recommended that the handicap sign be placed on the street versus them utilizing their driveway, which is pretty ample.
She doesn't need it because she doesn't have car either.
So just so we're clear, there's no handicap parking sign there, correct?
Correct, not recommended, so
It's not recommended, and there is none. Did we vote, did the council vote on that?
This one, I don't think so. I don't think it has. This
It's a
one is
fresh one.
This
Fresh
one's a
vote
fresh
for
one,
us.
yes. So for,
I'm looking for a motion from somebody, and if, yeah, looking for a motion.
may I interrupt for a minute? Council, Chairman, if this is a new one, then does it go to public?
We're withdrawing it.
Okay,
If we're withdrawing it, we're not creating an ordinance.
got it. Understood.
Got
Thank
it.
you for the clarification.
Yep, so there's a motion here to withdraw, to make a recommendation to the full council to withdraw the item. It's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Document 2223, and this was requested by Council President Giovanni Rodriguez as District D Councilor when he was the District D Councilor, for making Winter Street a one-way, traveling north on Essex Street, past Melvin, all the way to Lowell Street. I did recommend for this ordinance to be addressed, and I did recommend for it to be forwarded to the city engineer for his recommendation, review, and a traffic study if needed. And I'm still not sure if it's been, what's the status? And this is what I'm looking for, a status on this particular item, because it's been since April, and still waiting. So that's why this is coming forward as a second submission.
So are you recommending, are you supporting this?
I am supporting it, but I would like for the city engineer to give his recommendation based on a review and possibly a traffic study if needed. And I haven't heard anything, and this is still pending, and it's still here.
So just so we're consistent with past practice, not that that's the end all or be all, in situations like this, we would take it, your recommendation, we would then say, let's send it to the city engineer for the reasons you just described, so we can get their input as to whether or not the traffic studies, et cetera, would make this be favorable, right? So that's what we would normally do from this committee. Is that what happens typically?
Right, so I'm just not sure as to what direction. So a lot of these ordinances, as I do them, become duplicated over time, and it clutters the list, and it appears as if nothing is being done. So in order to alleviate that, we need to have a system in play that will help us not only be systematic on the response from other, other departments, but also to be able to clear some of these things up so that it's not lagging and it's not overlooked. And this is something that we really need to try and fix and address. So I'm looking for a status on this particular item, and I'm looking to either have it taken off if he didn't recommend it, or and withdraw it from the list, or if it needs to be addressed and brought back before the council so that they can make a vote on it.
So I think, counselors, I think what I'm hearing is that we will maybe send some sort of correspondence to the city engineer asking for a study or review of this document. If he's already done it, resubmit it. If he hasn't, please do a study, and then we can leave it tabled, waiting for that documentation. Does that make sense to the committee? Okay, so let that be a motion, if that's all right. I'm looking for a motion to send this to the city engineer for either a status update on whether or not we've already have a report, resubmit it, and if not, please draft one. Is there a motion for that? Motion made by the vice chair.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Councilors, it is now 9:22. Let's put a hard stop, as hard as we can, at 9:30. Let's see how far we can get, and then we can always come back and finish up. So continue, Officer Cano.
Just to let you know that this is, the next ordinance meeting, I'm gonna have twice as much as what I have tonight. And that doesn't include the stuff that I still have pending for the last document. So I'm just forewarning you, it's a list quite long. And I was trying to be kind and break it up to what I have now.
Thank you, Mr. Cone. Councilors, we want to work for the public. We want to make good decisions. We want to be fresh and sharp. My battery is going to die at 10. We'll get as far as we can. If you're up for it, I'm willing to stay till 10. And then if we don't, we're not going to do all that list next time. We're going to do as much as we can, but we can't kill everything all at once. So we'll get to it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The next one is document 2222. With this document, there's also document 21921 and 22520. So I'll read what I have and then try and figure it out, right? So 2222 is on page 6. This document was requested by former D. Councilor Rodriguez on behalf of his constituent, Thomas Haskell. The request was for handicap parking sign. It was placed in front of 53 Bradford Street. This request was granted for this address for the constituent under the original ordinance 2019. So what happened was, in 2021, for 2019, Haskell asked for it. It took a long time. They re-put it into it as 2022. They finally got it, but then someone moved in the same place, at the same building, Mr. Graham. So Mr. Graham was fighting with Mr. Haskell for the handicap spot. So eventually, 2025-20 was created, and then he finally got the ordinance. He finally got the second handicap sign. But then Mr. Graham moved. So now we ended up removing the sign. So I'm looking to withdraw 2022 from this ordinance, which should have been done a long time ago, and I'm requesting that to be withdrawn. Not remove the sign, but just withdraw this line item as a served document that was taken care of for Mr. Haskell.
Officer Cano, there's an awful lot to digest here.
So what I'm just asking is, if any of those line items are in this paper, they should be taken out, because I think they've been addressed, and it's doing a disservice having these line items showing every time, and it gets confusing when you're trying to do the job.
So Officer Cano, your end result here is what we did earlier, which is to withdraw, because this has already been finalized, this item, 2222,
Yes.
just like a couple of the other ones. So if we do the same drill, which is send it to the full council to withdraw, get a pending, updated, a vote from the city clerk, that model would work, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so it's not 29, 25, 20, 25, 20.
That makes sense, because you're looking to get the clutter out of the ordinance committee agenda, is what you're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha, and I think all of us can support that. So I'm looking for a motion to send document 2222 up to the full council with a recommendation to withdraw and to get an updated vote, final vote from the city clerk as we did before. Motion has been made by the vice chair.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? See no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And clerk, it's going to be really important that you get all these separated so Clerk Burnell can do a little research. Thank you, Mr. Cano.
So the next, and I did add the original documents in front of you, so that you have the original plus the new one that's being presented. So
And
that-
also, I just want to remind Clerk Halloran that whatever we're voting on tonight should be off of the ordinance committee. We should not see this in 3 weeks. Okay.
The next document is 24522, which is the same one as the first item that we talked about, 7922. So
You have 219 as the next in your packet.
Okay, that's part of the last one that we just talked about, 2222. Yeah, that's just background information. That's the original. So 245 is next. 245 is next. So 24522 is for 24 Belmont Street, which is originally the 7922, the first item we talked about, that you, so same thing. If we could withdraw it, with favorable recommendation.
Looking for a motion to send this up to the full council with a recommendation to withdraw pending documentation from the city clerk with a final resolution, final vote. Motion made by the vice chair.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
So the next document is document 5622. So this originated back in 2008, May 8th, 2022, by Councilor at-Large Selena Reyes. And again, it was requested in April of 2023 for a traffic study at the five-corner intersection of Cedar Street, Cross Street, Franklin Street. It was requested to have it reviewed by the city engineer for a traffic study and recommendation. If we jump ahead to August the 20th, 2023, at-large Councilor Richard Russell requested an ordinance because the study was or was not done, but we never got it. So Councilor Russell requested under 25523 petitioning 2 stop signs on Cedar Street in each direction. So this was done, it was taken care of, and it resolved the issue. So I'm wondering if that's the case, can we get rid and withdraw 5622, which was taken care of by 25522?
So thank you. So I think, and I'm going to be looking to Councilor Reyes, the Vice Chair, just to get her opinion, if what she was originally trying to do has been satisfied, and if it has been satisfied, then we could probably withdraw it. If it hasn't been satisfied, we need to get some satisfaction, so, Councilor? I heard a motion to withdraw document 5622. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Next document is document 278, 2021. That document was requested by former Councilor at-large Pavel Payano to make East Street a one-way in front of the Partham School. At the time, I did recommend this request to be moved forward. However, it was to be reviewed by the city engineer for his assessment and recommendation. Never heard anything as far as the status, and it's still the same way. It's a two-way. I don't really see any signs there. So I'm not sure if we can we request for a status from the city engineer if anything's going to be done with it, or just have it removed and left alone?
Looking for a motion to send a correspondence to the city engineer to do either send us the traffic study if he's already completed, and I guess B, if he hasn't completed the traffic study. It's really up to us. Senator's no longer with us. Someone needs to pick up the torch. So if this is, and you're the at-large counselor, so if this is something and this is your district, so it's up to you how you want to proceed on this. Do you want, if there isn't a traffic study, do you want a traffic study?
Well, I would like to send to the city engineer and to correspondence. I would like to send the correspondence to the city engineer and the DPW department, and we have to wait. They have to give us an update, and I think they need it because I was doing crossing guard over there, and I got bad experience about the traffic, and that's what I would like to say.
So what I'm hearing is what the motion is, the councilor is making a motion to request, to send an engineer to request this traffic study, to submit a traffic study if one's been completed, and if not, to do a traffic study. Is that right? Okay. Motion's been made and seconded by the vice chair. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
The next document is 278 of, I'm sorry, it's 291 of 2021. This is a new ordinance request. It's an old one, but it needs to be addressed. This was originally done by District Councilor B. Estela Reyes on behalf of constituent Juan Velasquez for one handicap parking sign to be placed in front of his residence located at 279 Lawrence Street. I recommend for this request to be granted. If the council passes the request, the handicap parking sign should be placed at the following location: from the northeast corner of Fern Street on Lawrence Street, traveling north to a point 108 feet for 20 feet to a point 128 feet. This places the sign on the east side of the sidewalk in front of 278 Lawrence Street.
Officer Cano, this is we're in 2024, and this was submitted, no blame here, in 2021. How do we know that this?
I visited the constituent this last week when I was doing the ordinances. I spoke to him, and he was, he definitely needs it. He says nothing has changed in his condition, and the street is very packed in that area, and he would appreciate having one.
So on something like this, councilors, what we would do is we would send this up, the motion would be, if we find it favorable, to send it up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing. That's what we typically would do with something like this, right? So there's a motion by the vice chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. Of course, Councilor Luzon now represents this area, and I'm sure she would probably want to learn more, but she'll have that opportunity in the next week or two when it's on the agenda. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Next document is 22822. This is a resubmission. It was originally submitted back in July of 2022, then again March of 2023, and now January of this year. It was a traffic study request by Councilor D. District Rodriguez, District Councilor D. Rodriguez, Councilor Rodriguez, for Lynch Street. The request was from the constituents based on a request of a traffic study. Lynch Street is a very narrow road. It's a hill. It's a two-way street, and currently allows parking on both sides. The road is narrow and will not accommodate two vehicles to pass evenly on either side at the same time, or for emergency vehicles like an ambulance or fire truck if needed. During the winter season, slow plowing is an issue, as well as other street cleaning vehicles. Lynch Street runs from north to south for the length of 264 feet, from Hampton Street to Butler Street, and is only 20 feet wide. I had recommended for this to be forwarded to the city engineer for a traffic study, his assessment, and also to the DPW, which is, again, I'm requesting to have the same thing done and see if we can get a response. Maybe they did it, and it was just, it fell through the loophole.
It's the same before. We're looking for a traffic study and to submit it, and if we don't have it, to please do one, right?
Please.
So there's a motion to send correspondence to that effect. Is there a motion? Motion made by the vice chair,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Next document is document 33419. It was requested for a four-way stop sign, Butler Street at Milton Street. I reviewed the Lawrence Police Department Act, so this was done in 2019 by Officer Scanlon, which I apologize, I should have said that. And he, at the time, requested so at the time, Officer Scanlon did a accident database search. In 2017, there were no accidents. 2018, there was one accident. In 2019, I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. There was one accident in 2017, 0 accident in 2018, 1 accident in 2019. And then he also said that at this point in time, that there should be placed a stop sign on the south and north, on the southeast and northeast corner of Butler Street and Milton Street. So when I went there, I did see the 2 stop signs that he had recommended. However, in consulting with, because I saw this item that was old, I consulted with Councilor, I'm also a little tired and winded. Giovanni Rodriguez, Councilor Rodriguez, he asked if we could recommend to put a 4-way stop there. So I'm not sure if we have to have a new number, but I do recommend for the stop sign for a 4-way stop to be done, because originally it was asked for a 4-way stop. Officer Scanlon did 2-way stop, and I think that it would benefit to have a 4-way stop. There's a school right there, and it's a cut-through for traffic, going from Havel Street over to Lowell Street and Essex Street. So there is a lot of traffic that goes through there.
So just as a reminder to some of our newer committee members is that we have the opportunity to amend the amendments per our rules require that they need to be related, directly related to the topic. So for example, this is what could not happen. We can't have an ordinance to do a traffic at a stop sign and also do a 40-mile speed limit or something. They're two different things. Or say I'm going to do a stop sign and I'm going to approve an amendment to approve, I don't know, something in a completely different part of the city, which is, there's no direct connection. In this particular case, it would appear to be in order to have from 2 to 4 on the same intersection. It would appear as though an amendment, if this committee chooses to, can make that amendment here and send it up to the full council. So it's up to the council, up to the committee. Before us, we have a two-way stop, and there is.
Currently, there is a two-way stop. It
So
goes
how did
from,
that happen without our approval?
I'm assuming that they did, but I'm not sure. It's still on the list existing. So I do have the dimensions of what it should be if they do a four-way stop to add that to Milton Street, because Butler Street has the two-way stops currently now. So I have the new dimensions that I can read for the record for Milton Street to have the two-way stops if we can do the amendment and add it.
So for process, it's up to the committee how you wanted to push this forward. If we decide we're going to go ahead and go with a four-way stop, I believe we should do two things, if that's what the committee wants. I believe we should do what we've done in the past. I want a vote that says we have voted for a two-way stop. If that two-way stop is not there and someone put up some stop signs here, we're talking about liability for the city. Somebody putting up stop signs, accidents or not, something's happening, and then now that we have notice, we know it now, we just can't sit. So we need to ask the city clerk for a final vote on this item. Did it take place? Hopefully the answer is yes. We've already taken care of it and those signs are up lawfully. If it's not, we have an issue and that can be dealt with later. So that's step one. Step two is we do know that if there is a stop sign, it's only a two-way, not a four-way. So if it's a two-way stop, we can make that, if this committee wants, we can amend it, right? So I kind of want to get ahead. Do we want to have them read this? Do we want to amend it to a four-way stop, or do we want to keep it or not?
We can amend it.
You want to amend it? All right. So do you want to read it? Go ahead.
We could also. Okay. I recommend this request to be granted and forwarded well, what I put in here is that it should be reviewed by the city engineer to make sure that that if they do the four-way stop, the sidewalk is strangely placed. The new sidewalks that they put, and there's a crosswalk and then there's a distance between where the stop sign should be versus where it could be. So it should technically be taken a look by the city engineer to make sure that my measurements are according to law and that it would suffice where it's going to be, otherwise it's too far back or too close. So review by the city engineer for his assessment and recommendation based on the calculations for the stop signs on Milton Street, which is north and south. If the council passes the ordinances, the stop sign should be placed at the following locations: from the southeast corner of Butler Street on Milton Street, traveling south to a point 38 feet, which is a long distance, east of the sidewalk on Milton Street. That makes it an all-way stop for the northbound traffic. For the northwest corner of Butler Street on Milton Street, traveling north to a point 16 feet, which is the west side of the sidewalk on Milton Street. This makes it an all-way stop for the southbound traffic. I know north and south it all sounds the same, but there is a difference, and it makes a big difference.
All right, so to digest. So I think what we're trying to do here is what we just mentioned. So we're going to, the added wrinkle is that we need to send this to the city engineer for their review before we even go ahead. And after we make the motion, I do want to make a comment regarding city attorney. So let me forget that city attorney. Right, city engineer for this one, and the city attorney, because what we haven't been doing, and I think you understand where I'm going with this, is that there's a bit of housekeeping that needs to be done. What's happened in the past is that we haven't sent things to the city attorney directly. We need to do that to make the system work more crisp and quicker. And so we're gonna need your help on that too. So getting things not only to the city engineer, but to the city attorney as well. In this particular case, I think I'm hearing this motion based on what I just heard. Motion to send this up to the, motion to send this as correspondence to the city engineer to study a four-way stop at this intersection. And then maybe do we get that back first before we send it up to the full council? Is that how that works typically?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay, that's typically how we do it. So, and then, because no sense sending it up, if it's gonna take them 3 weeks, it's just gonna be sitting there, right?
Right.
So let's leave it here, and let the city engineer do a four-way stop. So I'm looking for a motion to send that to the city engineer for a study for a four-way stop. Is there a motion? Motion made by the chair.
Second.
Vice chair, seconded by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
So there's only 2 more left, so that's a good thing. So the next item is 3/35/2023. We're getting close, right? This request was made by District E Councilor Infante for a stop sign on Carver Street at the intersection with Merrimack Street. I recommend this request to be granted. If the council passes the request, the signs should be placed at the following location: from the southeast corner of Merrimack Street on Carver Street, traveling south to a point 10 feet. This places a sign on the east side of the sidewalk facing southbound for the northbound traffic entering Merrimack Street. Yeah. Yes.
Why do we need a stop sign at a T? Wouldn't that just be common sense, or just put it by right? Why do we need to have a stop sign at a T?
Well, it helps when you have to make a determination. Let's say someone runs the corner and they don't stop. Technically, the main road is Merrimack Street versus Carver Street. It's just, it'd be a good idea to have it so that you can enforce the fact that someone didn't stop at the...
It's unenforceable unless a stop sign is there? Is that what you're stating? Unenforceable unless a stop sign is there.
Well, I think that the idea would be that I could cite someone for not failing to stop and yield versus not having it, and then just letting the parties deal with it accordingly. I believe so.
Okay.
I recommend it, but again, it's the council that ultimately.
Is there a motion? Motion that sends us up to the full council with favorable recommendation, order a public hearing. Motion made.
Second.
And seconded. And also sent to the city attorney for drafting. That's what I want to say. All in favor of discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Last one is document 4422. This is a resubmitted document as of today. The first one was April of 2022. It was submitted by Councilor Gregory Del Rosario of District C on behalf of constituents on Magnolia Street for a traffic study to make it a one-way from Congress Street to Florence Street. The length of Magnolia Street from Congress to Florence is 298 feet. The width of Magnolia Street at Congress Street is 25 feet. The width at the other end on Florence Street is 25 feet, so it's consistent. I do recommend for this item to be forwarded to the city engineer, again. If he has the study, then if he can provide it to the council to see what we can do about making this road a one-way, because there's parking on both sides, and only one car can get through at one time. So it is a safety issue, and during the wintertime, it's even worse, because the cars don't park that close to the sidewalk, and you constantly have people going at each other trying to get by. So that's my recommendation.
So you don't, look, in this city,
Well, to find out what the status is, and
Before.
also to find out and to get it off of the list as an item that has,
we're not gonna
been
get it off
sitting
the
there
list, because
for-
right now, we're gonna be going to the city engineer to ask him to do a study, and if he has a study, to send it to us, and if he hasn't, to do one. So it's not, this is gonna stay on the list, because we have to wait to hear back from the city engineer, right, like we have in the past? Okay. So there's a motion to send to the city engineer, as I just stated.
Second.
And seconded, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no, the ayes have it. Council, is that it, Officer Cano?
that's all for now.
That's it, yeah. Yes, clerk. I do.
I mentioned city engineer and DPW department.
There was one, what's the same, it's. I think, I'm looking for a motion from my colleagues for all of those that are gone to the city engineer to have all those items remain tabled. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by the Vice
Second.
Chair, seconded by Council Santiago. All in favor, say aye. The ayes have it. Blanket on all of those that are sent to the city engineer remain tabled here, and this, and everything else goes up. Now, on the stuff that's going to be ordered to public hearing, we need to get that information, Officer Cano. It's important that we get that information to the city attorney, because I think that's part of the missing link. They need to get it somewhere here, I don't know where, now that I'm the chair, I'm gonna be delving a little deeper, but somewhere here, we gotta get it upstairs to the second floor, so that the city engineer, city attorney understands that we're looking to order a public hearing, that we need language. He needs to draft the language so that we can vote on the language, because if he doesn't get it down to us, how are we gonna, vote on it? So, I don't know where that is. Is this an easy fix, or is this gonna take more than like a minute now to figure out?
So, what- So would it be possible that she also send it over to the city attorney, so that,
Maria, you're the closest one, and what it sounds like, the person that's the next person is you interacting with Teresa. Is that the next step?
Whatever reports I, from here, I do the reports, and then I'll send it before you to Teresa, and I put that on the sheet to work public hearing, and I guess she just, whatever goes to the full council, she gives it to, the clerk.
Do we have to wait for that? Can you send it immediately to the city attorney, this language, or no? Do we have to send it to Teresa?
Usually she does, she waits, because the clerks has to put it into the next agenda.
Can we do two things, or is that, I don't want to duplicate, but it seems like we're missing the city attorney, which is the problem.
So unless you want her to, anything that goes for a public hearing, to send it also.
I think that all the items should be sent to the attorney. That way, he's second check, there's a second eyes on the documentation, because, some of the documents should be going back to the city engineer, and things could be missed somehow, but if you have two, if you have two different departments overlooking, it's not that they're duplicating, but it's just to try and make sure that it follows, it doesn't fall through the cracks, which I think this is what's been happening, and it does become overwhelming, not only just for practical purposes of trying to address what's new, but then you realize, hey, didn't I do that before, and why is it still here? And some of these things are it's a very normal process where you'll see same line items and it's still there. And there has to be some checks and balances in it.
What I would like to do is this, there's a lot to improve on, I want to take it a step at a time. I'm just going to take one bite, and I'm not eating the whole elephant starting off. The first bite of the elephant is the city attorney on the public hearing notices. That is required, they have to do it. The other thing is I think is a good thing to do, is getting, and extra set of eyes is good, but that's the second bite. Let's get that first bite digested first, and then we can figure out how we get that, because we're gonna be adding more work, and I want to make it make sense. So let's work on that first, and then I think it's gonna be the clerk, there's a bunch of us on how we streamline, so the work that we're all doing, like tonight, that it gets to the council in an orderly manner. And so we're able to vote rather than saying, oh, should it be on the agenda, should it not be? Where's the language? I don't have it. All the embarrassing things that take place at the full council level, we're going to try to get rid of that, so.
And again, I really want to explain that as part of what we're doing, and with the experience that I have working on these line items, it's really important for your constituents to feel that that their request is being handled in a timely manner. And this will help me take care of that, but it'll also help you get back to your constituent and say, hey, all set, good to go, thank you. Next, it helps. It's a very lengthy process, as we know, and sometimes it just gets dragged out a little bit. But this is a way that we're gonna be able to be very consistent and, cut the red tape and get right to the point and try and be a little quicker.
Okay, I'll ask this question, the answer should be a quick no. Are there any other matters on the city ordinance committee agenda that we want to discuss this evening? The answer was no, right? Good. I'm now looking for a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion? Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So much.
Motion made by the vice chair.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santiago. All in favor, say aye. No, the ayes have it.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it. I know that this is a long day. And again, the next list is as long, if not longer. And again, I still have it, I'm trying to clear 2023 complete. So, good graces, I'll get that done.